Hi, my name is Renee Augsburger. I'm an occupational therapist, and today I'm here to talk to you about posture. So, poor posture is something that most of us are very guilty of. And the words stand up straight are words that we have heard probably our entire life. Well, it's advice that should be taken. So, when you define good posture, it's basically just proper alignment of the body. But this proper alignment really protects the body and prevents us against injury. And it also prevents us against progressive deformity. Good posture reduces stress on our joints, and poor posture increases the amount of stress that we put on our joints. So there's many benefits of good posture. You reduce your risk of falls, you reduce your risk of injury with exercise. It helps you breathe better, can expand your lungs. It takes the stress off of your back and helps reduce that risk of lower back pain. It improves your overall mood and actually self-confidence. It helps with your internal organs and improves the function of your GI system. And best of all, it makes you look thinner. So, what is good posture? Well, good posture is just the ability to draw a line really from your ear all the way down your body to really just the front of your ankle. What causes poor posture? There's a lot of things that can contribute to poor posture, but one of them is muscle tightness. So when a muscle is shortened because it's stayed or kept in one position too long, it can actually shorten. It can happen anywhere in the body. Let's just look at this image, for example. This is an image of somebody that has probably sat in a chair too much, maybe a wheelchair or maybe desk work. What has happened is her hip flexor has gotten tight. So when her hip flexor has gotten tight, it has caused her to actually bend at the hips. It's caused the increased lordosis or increased curvature of her low back. And you can see it's really pulling her head and her shoulders forward. So you can also have tissue shortening, soft tissue shortening. And that again is the result of not taking a joint through full range of motion. So say you don't move your arms over your head frequently, or you don't move your hips through full range of motion frequently, the tissue around the joint can start to shorten and restrict your movement, which causes an imbalance and poor posture. After you had a stroke, there could be an imbalance. The message that goes from the brain down to the muscles is disrupted. Maybe one of your muscles works better than the other muscle. So maybe your arm wants to bend or come across your body, which may move you actually in more of a forward and rounded position. So another thing that can contribute to poor posture is when you have inflammation, maybe from an acute injury. So say you have a pain in your knee, you may guard that knee and protect that knee and not use that knee. So ultimately, it may reduce the range of motion and movement that you have in your knee, which changes the way that you walk, changes the way that you stand, and ultimately changes your posture. So when we look at posture, we're really looking at our fight against gravity, right? Our life is one big fight against gravity pulling us down. So how the spine is affected primarily is that you have the pull of gravity, the compression through your spine, and you start to have degenerative problems. And you see those predominantly at the curves or the S's of the spine. So in the curve of your neck, in the rounding of your back, and in the curve of your low back. So what is important, you don't want those curves to be too pronounced, right? So what you need to try to do is really try to straighten out the curves and not let the S's get any deeper. So when you straighten out the curves, your height changes, you get a little bit taller, and the force on the spine changes, the force on the disc, the compression on the disc changes. If you look here, this is just an example of forward head movement. When your head is forward, you can see in this picture how much pressure it puts on the cervical spine. So every degree of head movement forward puts a large amount of pressure on the cervical spine. So that causes degeneration and it can lead to all kinds of disc problems and nerve problems. So you're asking, is it too late to change my posture? Well, it is never too late to change your posture. You can always improve your posture. So what can you do? One of the first things is just to be aware, be mindful of your posture with everything that you do, whether it's at the sink or if it's driving or laying on the couch, whatever you do, just be mindful. Are you rounding your back? Is your head moving forward? Just try to know that what you're doing so that you can try to improve it. If you don't know what you're doing wrong, you can't change it. Check yourself in a mirror because it's hard to see yourself if you don't get a full long picture from head to toe. It's hard to see what your posture really looks like. So maybe either have somebody take a video of you or take a minute in the mirror just to check your posture and see if you can draw that line down from your ear to your ankle. Another thing that you can do to improve your posture is just maintaining that healthy weight. Any kind of extra abdominal weight will put a stress on the low back. It will cause disc problems and it will increase your risk of low back pain. So there are exercises that you can do to improve your posture. Most importantly is staying active. And that activity can include walking and it can include exercises that really focus on strengthening your core. That means the muscles around your back, your abdomen, and your pelvis, the muscles that help you maintain an upright position. You can also improve your posture by being aware of how you walk and improving your posture with walking. So instead of looking down at your feet, always look out in front of you. Don't watch your feet when you walk. Keep your gaze 10 to 20 feet in front of you. Keep your shoulders down. Don't hike your shoulders. Straighten your back. Don't lead with your head or your shoulders. Make sure that you really, when you walk, your pelvis comes forward first, and then your head and your shoulders follow you. Make sure you swing your arms. Always keep that core engaged. Pull that belly button into your spine. And make sure that you have a nice stride. Step heel to toe every time. And make sure you have well-supported cushioned shoes. Avoid flip-flops and sandals when you're walking, when you're out walking for exercise, particularly. So if you've had a stroke, it's important to be aware of how your device that you're using, if you're using a device, will affect your posture. You want to make sure that your cane or your walker is not too low. It's better to have something a little too high than too low. And there are walkers and canes that are made specifically to improve posture with mobility. If you see the picture on the far left with the dog, this is a walker that really has upright arm troughs that helps reduce the bending with mobility. If you look at the second picture here, this is a very tall lady on a very low walker. And you can kind of see the same with the cane here. So always make sure too that whatever you're doing, whatever workspace that you're at, whether you're eating, on your computer, fixing dinner, that you're at a comfortable height, okay? That you're not rounded over, whether that be in the second picture, bringing a chair so that you can actually sit at the height, maybe it's a raised chair, or lowering the height, but just to make sure that that you don't have excessive bending or twisting at the work surfaces that you're consistently at. Also, make sure that when you sit, that your chair is not too low. If your chair is too low, it's going to drop you into a posterior pelvis, which then you're going to round your back and drop your head. So always make sure that when you sit, that your knees drop slightly below your hips. Sitting on an unstable surface, such as a exercise ball, is a good idea if you feel safe in doing this. Using exercise balls does help promote good posture and a nice pelvic mobility, but I would only do this if if you've been approved by your therapist and it's safe for you to do that. So maintaining good posture not only makes you look better, but it just makes you feel more confident. Research shows that you'll actually feel better about yourself if you have good posture. So good luck.